So a lot of you guys picked Cesaro to win the tournament. This was his second week under the tutelage of his new manager, Paul Heyman. And speaking of Heyman, he comes out before Cesaro and cuts a promo antagonizing the crowd with the fact that he serves as a representative of the person that ended the streak. The crowd boos the hell out of him, but they quickly change their tune when he uses that momentum that he created with antagonizing the crowd about Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania to introduce Cesaro. And the crowd goes wild for him. This is a very interesting dynamic in the relationship of Cesaro and Heyman. Am I the only one that feels a little weird about it?
No, I mean, definitely. It's uncharted waters as far as I'm concerned to have someone with heel heat as the manager for someone that is a budding face within the company, at least up to this point. But I think someone like Paul Heyman is dynamic enough and is talented enough to be able to navigate with this sort of uncharted territory. Cesaro, up to this point, I know, Jay, on Twitter, you made the point on Monday how he doesn't necessarily have any direction right now. And I agree with that. He needs something to sink his teeth in. He needs something to do. But I really believe that Paul Heyman is good enough to get him through whatever he's going to be facing soon.
I'm nervous, is Brock Lesnar, obvious part-timer. Hopefully Cesaro just doesn't turn into the guy that is basically substituting for Brock Lesnar. I'm really hoping that, they actually put some work into this guy, and I'm pretty sure they will, because Cesaro's a pretty popular wrestler. I think this is a good move as long as they handle it the right way. I am nervous, but I have some hope out because Cesaro is very talented. I'm sure they see it. They're behind him. They let him win that Battle Royale. And the crowd is very responsive towards him.
I mean, what he does need is a theme song. It's cool that they do the talking. It's cool that they do talking, but I mean, when he introduces Cesaro, just give him a theme song. I don't know what they're doing. He has a theme song already. Give him that one again, unless they're working on a new one. I'm not sure. But overall, I think it's good. I personally want Cesaro on the mic a little bit more. That's just me. But it is weird seeing him get booed for the whole Lesnar thing and then introduce Cesaro, then he kind of gets cheered. Like, I don't know where they're going with it. It's hard to see, but I'm hoping they put it in a good direction. Again, I have faith in what they're doing, so let's just see where they go. And I'm assuming a Swagger storyline is what's going to come, so we'll see.
Yeah, man, Jim Johnson needs to get on his shit.
I'll admit, I'm very, very pissy when it comes to the whole erosion of the line between faces and heels in wrestling. Cesaro was even guilty of adding to the problem way back when he first started using the Cesaro swing. Here you have someone that was a legit bad guy doing a move that he knows will elicit cheers from the crowd. Now that he's with Paul Heyman, I don't know what the hell he is. I'm hoping this is not just a situation where WWE is like, screw character development, and they stuck Paul Heyman with him to serve as this shiny new toy to distract and provide an excuse not to flesh out his character. But one way or another, I want to know who Cesaro is, what makes him tick, what his motivations are, where he stands on his partnership with Paul Heyman. I think those are important questions that should be answered now that he's serving in this new role on the roster.
Well, I think it's kind of obvious because everybody. Well, I think that. Well, I wish they would have done that, made it a little bit more obvious. But like, Paul Heyman is the guy that managed the person that ended the streak, and that's a pretty damn big deal. So I'd imagine that a lot of people would be clamoring to run up to want to be his manager. They should have had some segments where people ran up to say, "Hey, I want to be managed by you." But I think it makes sense. Both parties saw something in each other that they liked. Cesaro obviously saw that this guy managed the streak breaker, the guy who broke the streak, and Paul Heyman saw that Cesaro is very talented. He won the Battle Royale, so.
Yeah, I don't think it's a situation necessarily where WWE is saying screw character development, but I do think that they're asking us to adjust our notion of the traditional face and heel relationship into something of a more dynamic character than what we're accustomed to getting in the wrestling industry.
And if that is the case, I could possibly groove with that. But the thing is, I just don't like the ambiguity. I want to know one way or another who the hell is Cesaro. And David, what you said, it did make a lot of sense. it did make a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, that still doesn't change the fact that we need to know who Cesaro is, because is he a type of person that's willing to sacrifice his principles just to get himself to a point of success? Is that why he's with Paul Heyman? Is he the type of guy he's like, yeah, I'm going to be my virtuous self, or whoever the hell he is? He's more towards the good side of the whole divide, and he's like, I'm going to let Paul Heyman be the one to get his hands dirty. I'm going to let him do the dirty work. I'm not saying that this is something WWE isn't willing to do. I'm just saying that hopefully this is something that is explored as the weeks roll on and they continue to flesh out his character. The partnership between him and Paul Heyman is definitely an interesting one that we aren't used to seeing, and I would like to see where it goes. Like, what's the meaning behind it?
Well, Paul Heyman has a pretty decent track record. I think he's on pace of being one of the all-time greats as far as managers concerned. He did a great job with Brock, obviously. RVD did pretty decent with. He's got
No. He is the all-time best.
I don't know, man. I'm
in the world.
I'm a big-time Paul Bearer guy. Ooh, yes.
But see, Paul Bearer only had to work with one or two talent. Well, no, I take that back. He had Mankind, he had Kane, he had Undertaker, but he always had the similar type of eerie type dudes. Paul Heyman has had a wide range of different guys and different styles as he had to work with, and he's gotten them all over.
In kayfabe terms, I think he's the greatest of all time, but I'm a Paul Bearer guy.
But I mean, as good as Paul Heyman is, we still need to see what Cesaro's about, like where he stands with everything. So yeah. I think that's what Jay was trying to say. Like, he does need more mic time. Like, we need to see other things besides just Paul Heyman talking.
Cesaro's about fucking somebody up.
And if that's the case, then I would like to see that be explored. But yeah, this isn't a situation where it's about Paul Heyman to me, because at the end of the day, Paul Heyman can only hope to accentuate what Antonio Cesaro has. I talked about it on the show last week. Paul Heyman does a great job of, putting all of that momentum into the guys that he's representing, utilizing all of his talents to push the guys that he's with. And so make no mistake about it, Cesaro is the subject here.